Welcome back to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex and today we're taking a look at Summertime Madness on the Nintendo Switch, a surreal first-person puzzle experience. Is it worth your time and cash, and how does this Switch port stand up? Well, hit subscribe if you love the Switch, as much as we all do here, join our growing family, and let's get started. So story, and here we take on the role of a painter. It's Prague, 1945, and the war around you escalates further and further. To escape this reality, the artist paints beautiful, vivid landscapes as almost a contrast. One night though, a mysterious man appears and offers you an escape, the chance to enter one of your paintings and just kind of take a break from this reality. The catch though, fail to leave before midnight and your soul, it is trapped in that painting forever. You shake hands, you've made a deal, and it turns out with the devil. And that path to leaving at midnight, a whole lot more complicated than you may have anticipated. It's not story heavy really, an opening cutscene setting the stage and, you know, of course like closing things out, but I enjoyed it. It's more than most in the genre, and it's definitely a unique concept. Look out for the Amelia edition as well. So gameplay, and what we have here is first-person exploration as you look to solve puzzles. The controls couldn't be more simplistic. Move with the left stick, aim with the right, interact with the A button, and then of course sprint. There is also a continuous option for sprint, and for me, I left that always on because the walking pace in-game, it was just a little bit too slow for my liking. Outside of that then, you can also adjust the sensitivity, which I dialed up slightly, and the field of view as well. I left that at the preset, but it's a nice option to see. We don't often see it on a console. Outside of that though, for controls, the only other thing, tap X to see your pocket watch. This will tell you the time, but also it enables a hint system. When you use a hint, that's when time advances forward, so just be aware of how close you are getting to midnight. The game then, it packs difficulty modes, but it doesn't actually change the gameplay or the puzzles, but rather how long you have to succeed. Explorer is unlimited time, Classic is 6 hours, and then Advanced, that is 3 hours. There's also going to be achievements then built into the game as well for completing each, so that could be a longevity factor for you. You can unlock though, however, just know all three in one go if you played on, let's say, the easy mode Explorer, but still came in under the 3-hour mark. So I've actually played this game before though, so I had a good sense of where to go next. That first playthrough, I'm going to say somewhere in the region of, for most, I'd say, yeah, 3 hours, but with the achievements, if that's your thing, you are unlikely to hit them all in that first run, especially when you factor in some require that you use no hints. The puzzles then exploration based, and while you're starting lush green scenery, it will quickly take you to moments of darkness, endless houses, and more, let's say, science fiction locations with floating bridges. For its short runtime though, I really enjoyed the diversity in its puzzles, even if they can be a little bit too obscure for their own good at times. That's where the hint system will come into play. Now I don't want to spoil any, but think everything from navigating maze-like pathways to ringing bells in a specific order to opening just simply a gate. It takes some brain power getting to the answer though, that is for sure, and I appreciated the hint system for my first pass because it gives you this option. You can struggle with it as long as you want, or take a hint at the cost of the clock moving forward. It felt fair, and it put a bit of extra weight on taking a helping hand. Problems then, and Summertime Madness at the end, it relies a little too heavily on like mazes with long pathways. They just feel like they're trying to expand the runtime of the game, and it becomes a bit of a slug to get through, especially when you throw in the frustration of getting lost at the same time. I think they could have achieved the same feeling in a more concise manner. When it comes to achievements as well, one I did notice, there's a slight glitch in the Switch build. You need to find a TV in this world, but for me the TV, you couldn't actually see it, it was invisible, but you can still however click on it. Minor honestly, with the Switch not being a particularly, you know, achievement heavy system, but worth knowing. You'll need to use a guide like I did when I wanted to figure this one out. Thankfully though, once complete, you can jump back into any chapter and wrap up any missing achievements, so it definitely took a couple of minutes at the most. Finally, performance, for the most part it's fine, but on some of the larger locations, rotating the camera, you can feel that frame rate is kind of wavering just slightly. I wouldn't say it's huge and it doesn't impact the game in any way given its more relaxed pace and style of gameplay, but it's still definitely worth knowing. Overall though, look, it's one of the more interesting puzzle games I've played in recent memory. The storyline adds some weight, and then the surreal nature of it all, it keeps you intrigued. Sure, some puzzles are a little bit too obscure, but even then the hint system is your friend to keep you moving forwards. So graphically it takes a hit on the Switch, no question about it, but I think it's still able to bring across its ideas in this kind of effective way. The concept of being in this painting, it leads to a decent amount of variety and creativity. It's very much, grounded in the sense it could be based on reality, but here things get stranger and stranger as you proceed, and it makes for a nice balance of styles. The graphics though, look honestly pixelated in many moments, and details they have been cut back. There's also in some locations a noticeable motion blur. This is even when motion blur is turned off in the main menu as well, so it seems to be a stylistic choice at specific locations, but it didn't really work for me. Cutscenes finally, mostly still images, but they get the point across. Audio finally, and while there's not a huge amount in here, I really enjoyed what there is. Sound effects are present in the world, and while there's not a huge count of them, they definitely add a layer of realism. Then the music, piano medleys mostly throughout, and it balances that line often of kind of chill and haunting. I really appreciated the music though. Sometimes mellow is good, and that's especially true when you're faced, with a particularly challenging puzzle. So overall, Summertime Madness is a very unique release. It has this World War story of potentially giving up your soul, which of course carries weight, and then throw in the pocket watch and the hint system, and it can actually be quite intense at points almost, well, at least dependent on the difficulty mode you choose. Some of the early puzzles as well, great fun as you never know what to expect next. That said though, it's not perfect at the same time. On the Switch we've seen a graphical downgrade. There's the bug with the missing item for an achievement, though extremely easy to overcome. And then towards the end game, while there's some great moments that make up for it, there's a whole lot of walking sections, particularly long linear sections, and it feels just a little bit unnecessary as it kind of comes across like they're just padding that runtime. With that all said though, look, I think for puzzle fans it's absolutely going to be worth a look. It's creative and it does something different. That's always going to be a nice surprise. So a good 7 out of 10 from me today. It's short, but it will stick with you. And that though is Summertime Madness. Will you be adding this one to the library, or are you holding onto that cash? A shout out then to the patrons of the channel who are going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.